Hi friends, Kelly here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to ABC April. So this is a super fun collaboration that Margreth from Severn Plaza and Toni from Crafty by Toni. Oh, I hope I said that right. Just Toni and Margreth. They have come up with this really fun idea for the month of April. It is a collaboration amongst many creatives and makers and really everybody in our community. So this is for you. This is for everybody. So Margreth has done a great job of explaining what it is. I'm going to give you my quick version, my interpretation, which I think is pretty, it's on, you know. The whole month of April, you will find by going to this hashtag here, ABC April 2025, go to this hashtag, which you can find in the description box of this video, and you will find an incredible library of videos and content, depending on what you're looking at. We're on YouTube right now, so YouTube, you're going to find all kinds of videos. You can also find stuff on pretty much any social media platform. You can find stuff on Instagram, Facebook. I don't do TikTok, but maybe. I'm not really sure how that all works. I'm primarily a YouTuber, so that's where you're going to find a lot of the content I'm talking about. So what exactly is it? It is a library of content built for junk journalers, specifically kind of for newbies, or people who need inspiration, or just people that want to expand on the skill set that they've already started developing, or they're just checking it out. It's really for everybody, like I said. So the whole concept of this is that every day you see an alphabet letter here, will cover a topic for that day. And the great thing is that all of the creators that are participating and all of the people, anybody who's participating, it doesn't have to be one particular thing. As long as it starts with the letter A on the first, B on the second, C on the third, you can see. So there won't be anything necessarily on Sundays. That doesn't mean creatives won't be posting stuff, but these are all the days that are going to be covered throughout the month. And not everybody's going to post every day. I don't think I'm going to. That probably will be impossible. But I certainly have my favorite letters. I know which ones I'm really excited about. So today we're doing A, and I'm going to jump in, and I am going to talk about acetate and kind of alcohol ink. I guess they go hand in hand here. So I'm going to do a quick little project using acetate. I'm going to do some alcohol inking on it, but I'm also going to talk a little bit about not. And then I'm going to talk about some alternatives and just, I'm really enjoying the process of using acetate. And I want to talk about that a little bit, share some ideas, and then do a quick project. So my intention with ABC April is to do quick, shorter videos, which I know anybody who's been following my channel is like, you don't do that. I know, I'm going to try. I also think I might be doing some live streaming this month, just because that will force me to get the video, get it up. I don't always have time for the editing. I don't know why I'm doing a lot of pointing with my finger. I don't have a lot of time for the editing always, especially during the weekdays. So, but I want to participate. I have a lot of ideas. And so I think the best way to do that is maybe to just go live randomly. So that's what I'm thinking I might be doing a little bit. But I wanted to make sure that this video here kind of covers a little bit of what the plan is, what we're doing here, and what it's going to look like. So this is what you can get if you go to, I'm just going to point you to Margreth because that's the easiest thing for me. If you go to her Ko-Fi site, I think I'm saying it right now, Ko-Fi. If you go to her Ko-Fi, you will find the printable calendar, and then also there's a prompt list. So this is just to be, hello, stop sticking, ideas to get you going. So I would definitely recommend grabbing this so you have this as a reference for going forward, because not only is this an awesome thing to cover for prompts for the month of April, this is also just a really great list of ideas. If you're kind of stumped or you need an idea or what should I do with this project, go in here and find something, or use it as a challenge list. Maybe you challenge yourself, you want to build some skills and practice. Go in here and find something and say, okay, today I'm going to work on labels. So this is I think this is a fantastic tool that can be used multiple ways. So grab this. take a look at the calendar so you can follow along. And then make sure you start following all of the creatives that you stumble upon throughout this month. It would be so awesome for you to find some new inspiration. Maybe you have stumbled upon my video looking for inspiration. If that's the case, hi, my name is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, and I would love for you to comment. Commenting is such a wonderful way for us to connect on YouTube. And it really does help us to know that, you know, there's people out there that actually want to be here and be with us. So if you wouldn't mind dropping comments, that is super helpful. Not only just on my channel, but on all the channels you're visiting during this month. Okay, last thing I want to grab, and of course I can't find it. Here it is. This is my very quick rough draft of my ideas for this month. I started to try to do the numbers before I had this in my hand, and I realized, oh wait, we're not doing Sundays. So some of my ideas that I'm just gonna quickly spitball them so you have an idea of what I might be up to this month. I went through the whole alphabet and I wrote down letters. Obviously I got kind of stumped over here. So acetate, alcohol ink. B, I'm thinking book pages, backgrounds, banners, and basics. What are basics of junk journaling? And C, I'm thinking collage and closures, and so the list kind of goes on, and the ones I'm really excited about are like foundations. K is my letter. That's my name starts with a K, so I really want to try to do K. Let's see, what day is K? K is the 12th. I can do that one. I'm thinking I'll do something with craft paper, much like I have on my desk right now, or kit building, talking about kits. So I'm excited about that one. P, I was thinking it'd be fun to talk about junk journaling in kind of the way I do it, in a storytelling way, pretending. So we might delve a little bit into pretending. So lots of different ideas. I'm excited. I think this is going to be super fun. Let's just go ahead and get going on today's project. Enough talk. Okay, let me move some stuff around and we'll get started. Okay, so acetate, let's talk about it. Before I move anything else out of the way, I'm gonna talk about alcohol ink. I wanna put a disclaimer out there that I have by no means any professionalism when it comes to alcohol ink. I really am experimenting still. I'm playing, I'm not pretending, I'm playing with this medium. So I'm sharing with you what I've learned, what I like. Please know that I am not necessarily taking all the safety precautions or using the products that come with it or any of that stuff. I'm just doing what I do. My hope is that it gives you some confidence to try it yourself. I will also point in the description box to some helpful resources, so that if you are like, okay, I want to do this, but I want to do it, I'm a rule follower, I'm a by the booker, whatever it is, I will point you in the direction. Honestly, I'm going to point you to Tim Holtz because it's his product and he's a genius. So, but here's what I have on my desk. My alcohol inks that I have out today are the colors ginger, butterscotch, teakwood, and rust. But I also have these ones over here. These are all the alcohol inks I own. I don't have a ton. I also have gravel, mushroom, flannel, chronicle, smudge, and oregano. I'm very earth tony. I like to do things in earth tones and those grungy tones. So that's the colors that I have. They have suited me just fine. I have not felt the need for anything outside of that. Tools, I said I was going to talk about acetate, but apparently I'm doing a twofer here. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I have one of these with the little felt pads. I also have the ball blowy thing, which I'll probably pull out here. Cost-wise, you can get a set of 3. You don't really have a lot of control on what 3, but I've been able to find, one of these came in a set of 3. You can get a set of 3 for like, I want to say $12 to $14 at various craft stores, Amazon. I'll link something below for Amazon just to give you a quick link. Honestly, Ranger, it's their product, Ranger ink. I would probably go there and purchase. Ranger has a really great loyalty program, so you get points and then you get rewards. So I'm a big fan of Rangers shopping there directly, so I would recommend that. But I've also picked them up at Joann's, which good luck, because they're going away. And you don't have to have this brand, but this is the one I know. Okay, acetate. So where do I get my acetate? As you can see, this huge piece is just from a package. This is actually how my photo paper, the Canon photo paper that I use, comes inside this. So I'm going to take advantage of that. That's what I'm going to use today. I just have a piece of kind of craft stock on my desk because I want to do a project with that. And then I pulled out a die set because I was thinking it would be fun to make one of these little, what are these called? Coin envelopes or whatever this is. Whatever the name is. I was thinking I would make one of those and I'm going to put a window in it. So it'll look kind of like that. Is this going to be too big? Nah, this will be great. So that's the project I'm thinking. And then we'll see how much time we have left if we're gonna make anything to go in it. So let's get to the acetate. So I'm gonna put something down to protect my surface. I like to use freezer paper. I like to use, I just shared this in a video recently. Let me grab it because I can't remember what it's called. Hold on, I'll be right back. I don't know why I told you guys to hold on, I'll be right back. The magic of editing is gonna make that happen like that. So I don't know why I said that. This is the stuff that I like to protect my desk with, this slick paper. I could not think of what it was called. Silicone release paper. So this is maybe a little smaller than I need. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna cut that down. So we're just gonna use a piece of this. This will last me an eternity. It's 250 sheets, so I will make sure it's linked. Okay, so for the project I'm working on, and most often what I'm working on, is something that I'm using the acetate to create some sort of window so I can see through it. And I'm just gonna cut away the bottom of this package because it's kind of all bent up and I don't really want to deal with that. I'd rather it to be laying a little bit more flat. So think about any sort of packaging that you have from, it could be anything from in your craft room to you know, packaging that you get just in your household. This stuff is great. So this one actually has a little bit of a sticky top, so I'm just going to trim that off too. So this is my go-to. You can also grab out things like photo protector pages. So maybe you're a scrapbooker or you're like me and you were a scrapbooker, but now you don't scrapbook much. You probably have a lot of page protectors. You can probably sacrifice one. You don't need a whole lot of this, especially in junk journal world. You're not gonna use a whole page of this typically. Another thing you can use is laminate sheets. I usually will run one through my laminator and just have a piece of laminate. You can use that, especially if you want something a little thicker. That's another great thing you can use. But packaging, it's free, right? You've gotten the thing you want out of it, so you might as well use it. Now, we're gonna do a little experimenting because this piece of packaging, I'm feeling it, and this side is kind of shiny and it's not slick by any means. It definitely has some resistance, but it feels different than this side. I guess shiny isn't the right way to say it. This side feels more slick. This side feels more dull, like it has a little tooth to it. So I guess I'm gonna try it. I don't know if it'll matter, but I'm gonna try it on the side that feels a little bit like it's got a little bit of texture to it. I don't really know how else to say that. Okay, so I have my acetate here, and then let me grab the blowy thingy. This is the blowy thingy. It's a ball, I guess. I believe I got that from Ranger, but you can get it in a lot of craft stores. Okay, so knowing that this is probably going to be in a junk journal that my style is grungy, I tend to do a lot of things that are going to be aged, grungy. Think like field notes, nature. I'm currently working through a project called Case Closed. It's a criminal kind of themed thing. So everything's kind of got that dingy, grungy look. So that's my preferred go-to. So these colors work really well for that. So here we go. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to take my alcohol ink and I'm just going to put a couple of drops down. And then I am going to do a couple of different crazy things. This one I am going to flip over and I am going to smush it. That is why I'm using this slick paper here. I want to smush it around to really get a lot of coverage. This is my preferred method to doing this. I've learned I really just like smushing it all around. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. And it's going to give me, I used butterscotch. It's going to give me a really light look. I think I need another sheet so I have a drying space. Let me grab one more. Uh-oh, I'm going on the other side. Apparently I'm going on both sides now. Let's just see what happens. Okay, I have another sheet. That'll be my drying space. Now that I did that on both sides, I guess we'll just see what happens. Although now I don't know how to dry that. I'm gonna hold it up in the air for a minute. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that other sheet and I'm not gonna waste any of this. If you are using paper underneath, you're not gonna get this. This is really just because I'm using the sheet underneath that is kind of resistant. So freezer paper is another great thing to use for that. Okay, so that one can go there. Alcohol ink does not take very long to dry. It's already kind of tacky and it's drying. So that is another reason why I think it's really fun to work with. Okay, just in the interest of time, let me just do this. That's not really its intention. You'll see its intention here in a moment, but if you've never seen this before, you're like, what? This, I've never seen anybody do that. Yeah, because probably nobody does that. It's just me. All right. Okay, so we used, wait, was that? Yeah, that was butterscotch. Okay, now I have, wait, was that ginger? Oh, I guess we'll find out when I go back to edit this video. I think that actually was ginger, not butterscotch. Well, let's find out. I'm going to put a drop down. Let's just do this. Oh yeah, okay, it was butterscotch the first time because that is clearly a darker color. Now I'm just playing around because I have this slick surface. I want to see what happens. Okay, so now I'm gonna just put a few drops. It'll start reacting to the alcohol ink that's already on there. And now I'm gonna use this fun tool and just kind of blow it around a little. You'll get some weird, like, the closer you are and the harder you spray, you see how it's like really like spreading out. You're getting those like weird lines. If you don't like that look, do this. Because sometimes that's what I do. Like, oh, I don't like the way that turned out. It's too harsh. So sometimes I'll just do that. But also with alcohol ink, you can, and I'm just gonna let it do that. You can come back in and put more on it and it'll start to do other cool, weird things. So now I will caution you this, knowing what you're putting this in, what your project's gonna be, if you start to get it really, really dark, you're never gonna see through it. I wanna be able to see through this, so I'm actually gonna go back in with a little more butterscotch to loosen it up and move it around a bit more. Because I really don't want all that dark right there. Okay, and then since I already have a second piece, and the other thing is, if you're gonna have a playtime and you're gonna do this, I do recommend, I was saying before my battery died, if you're gonna get all this out, make a little playtime with it. Make a lot of it, or a couple things. But you know, sometimes I'm in the middle of a project, I'm like, oh, you know what this could use? It really doesn't take very long to do, and it's super duper fun. Okay, now I think I'm just gonna, over on the side here, I'm gonna throw in a drop of something darker. So this is rust. I'm gonna put it down here. Come on, there we go. Here's another trick. If you don't have a blowy thing, get a straw or blow it around. It's not that complicated. It's not that serious. So you can just simply give it a little blow and you're good. But again, I really, really like the smushy look. So that is my preferred way to do this. So I just like smushing it in. I think I got an eyelash in this one. That's weird, but well, that's okay. Now, I will say that when you do that, you see how it's kind of lifted a little bit? You're going to get some really interesting things when you keep adding and taking away. And I know there's products out there that you can blend. I know there's products that you can lift. I don't play with those, so I don't have much to say about them, but I know they exist. I also think because it's alcohol, it does evaporate. So I don't know how quickly you need to shut or close up the bottles. Sometimes I'll leave it open for a little bit, but I do like to close them up relatively quick. I don't want to risk it, and I don't want to lose any product to, you know, unnecessary waste. Okay, so that's giving me like a really cool blobby thing there. Let's see what else. Let's go in with oregano. Let's try a little bit of that over in the other corner. This time I'm going to hold it up and I'm just going to kind of do this here. I want to get some drippage and runnage down this way. And it will, oh great, I'm going to be covered in it. It will kind of stop and form its own like little outline and stick to that. So that's why blowing it is very helpful. I am going to add that over here. Smush it around a little. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so much fun. Because I'm not going to use this whole piece for probably a project, but I will cut parts of it off, and then I will have, like, that is gold right there to me. How it's faint. I love that because that's going to look, same over here, that's going to look really great on a, oh, I just got some drips. Let's see what happens. Let's leave that. That's going to look great for me when I want to make like a specimen slide or something and I want to be able to see what it is. I'm just getting silly. I'm just getting silly now. Okay, I think you get the point. I think you can see how fun this is to play with. You just kind of keep smushing around and making a mess. See what you get. So I'm going to do a little on this side. I don't want to leave any of that product behind. And down here. And there we go. Okay. All right, so we've got some fun acetate stuff happening here. Now let's make a project with it. What are we going to do with this? I am really excited to try this little idea of I need more over here, coin envelope thing. I'm just going to go for it. Take advantage of the rest. So let me finish making all of this mess and having some fun, and then we'll get to a project. Okay, I have my envelope cut out, and now I'm just going to put the window in. I didn't want to spend a lot of time talking about this because I think other people will cover die cutting. I don't think I'll be doing that on D, but since you might be new to this, I want to honor that by just sharing a couple extra tips. So you certainly don't need a die to make what I'm about to make. It's a very simple shape. You can make yourself a template and you can simply make this. You don't need a die, but I have one, so I'm going to use it. Here's a little trick. If you are new to dies, if you haven't used them much, or if you are thinking about getting some, here's a little thing that you can think of when you have it. I love to use washi tape to hold things in place. So that is a really great, quick, easy way to make sure things are not moving around. So I will put it down with some washi. And then run it right through. I have had this machine for, it is a machine, it's hand crank, but technically a machine. I've had it for probably, oh gosh, I would say well over 15 years. Worth the investment because over the years, since I have been a paper crafter, oops, that ripped a little. That's okay though. I have been a card maker, I've been a scrapbooker, and now I'm a junk journaler, and I've used it in many ways. I've used it for my kids' birthday parties or for wedding invitation things. Like, I have used this thing so much. So if you're thinking about getting one, I think it's a great investment. I love mine. You can also get the little ones. They're called sidekicks, I think. That is also, I've used that a lot too, but it doesn't fit big dies. So for what it's worth, there you go. That's what I feel like about this. Okay, let me clear it all away. Okay, while I'm putting this away, I just keep reminding myself that you might be new to all of this, so I don't want to just breeze through things and then you have questions. But if you do have questions, drop them in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them. This is not how the die came. I gotta figure out how it goes on here. I have purchased, sorry, apparently I couldn't do two things at once there. I couldn't think and talk. I have purchased these magnetic sheets. These are, they come in a sheet, oh gosh, I want to say 8.5 by 11 maybe. I've got mine on Amazon, and they're actually for covering up like metal radiator, your heat vents. That's what these are for, but they're great for holding on to your dies. And then I bought a huge pack of these years ago. These are just a, this would also be something you could use for acetate. These are just these storage pouches. So this is where my dies live. That way everything's there. This is, and then little bits I put in little plastic baggies and then they just kind of stay there. So this set is from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. It is 665926. I've realized with so many creatives tell you the number because there's no name on here. So that makes me crazy, but it's chapter 3 something or other is my recollection. So there you go. Okay. So now we have our little project. I'm definitely saving this for something else that goes in the scrap bin. And now I'm just going to fold in all of the folds. So again, if you're unfamiliar with dies, if it's something like this, it not only does it cut it out, it also embosses your fold lines or any other sort of detail you need. Okay, so we have our cute little envelope. Now, before I close it all up, I have a couple things I want to do. First thing I want to do is I want to ink this. I am an inker. I love to ink my things, so I am going to go ahead and grab out my favorite, which is Vintage Photo. And I'm going to, for sure, make sure I do the inside here, because once you get that acetate on, it's super hard to do this. Another thing I want to mention is you do not have to use alcohol ink to color your acetate by any means. This could be completely, completely clean. So for example, here's that sheet I have that has nothing in it. I don't have to spend time inking it or invest money in alcohol inks. You get a super cool effect simply by just using a piece of acetate. And in fact, I will show you a way that you can achieve some grunginess without having to have alcohol dyed or whatever, however you want to say that, acetate. So I will show that to you here in a moment as well. Actually, I want to make sure I don't leave that on my desk because it might throw a glare. Okay, so I've gone ahead and just inked the inside. Now I want to find a piece. So this is completely dry now. I want to find a piece that is kind of the color, like look at how cool that is. Like that's pretty dramatic. And then I can go up here into the green and get a weird dual tone situation here. Maybe a little on the corner or the edge. I don't want to go right in the middle because that would be, I don't know, I think difficult. I feel like I'd be wasting. Okay, so that's what that one would look like. And then we have this one over here where we're getting, I kind of like how it doesn't have any right there. A little darker, again down into these green tones, really anywhere here. I mean, it's all lovely. I'm gonna go back over here because I was really liking, where was it? This space right here, this corner. Okay, so I just need to know how much I need. So I'm gonna flip it over. I wanna make sure I have enough to glue. Okay, so, I do things backwards, I'll just tell you. I'm not very, I don't make a lot of sense sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna cut a strip and then let's see, about that much. Perfect, okay, so that gets tucked away. I'll use that again. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and glue it down. Now my preferred glue is the Barely Art craft glue. That's my preference. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that down. The reason I like this glue is it gives you just a second of wiggle room and the precision tip. Okay, do I want it up? Yeah. There's kind of a natural flow to the alcohol ink there. I want to kind of capture that because it looks like it's kind of dripping down a bit. Okay, so we get that glued on. Doesn't take very long for it to stay. Oh. Cool. Now it's kind of hard to see now that I have the paper in there, but there'll be some things tucked in at some point. It'll probably be a lighter color. I have a couple ideas that I will show you what I'm thinking will go in there. So let me get this closed up. And then really quickly, I'm going to show you what I was talking about with using, you don't need to have the alcohol ink, okay? So let me just cut off a little, I'm just gonna cut off a little tiny section here to play with. I probably had a scrap somewhere I could have used, but all right, I'm just gonna put a little glue on here just so I can demonstrate this, and I'm gonna smear it around a bit. Okay, so I'm just smearing it. So now imagine, if you will, that I had glued on my acetate, but it did not alcohol ink it. I don't have alcohol ink, so I don't have that option. So when I glued this on, this will make sense when you see what this is gonna do. What I would have done is I would have glued it on the way it is, but I also would have put some glue and maybe a few globs close to the edge here. And then when I pressed it down, I would have tried to make sure the glue kind of seeped out and kind of got onto the acetate. And then maybe with my finger, I might rub it in a little or kind of move it around and smear it and smudge it. And you'll see why here as soon as this dries. It's not quite dry. It takes a couple of seconds. So we'll let that dry for a minute. We'll come back to it and I'll show you how you can achieve a cool look without having to have alcohol ink. All right, so now we have a really cool little envelope. This is gonna be so fun in my field notes folio. I've got a little bit of paper there I'm gonna rip off. So I gotta do a little bit more inking. I think what I want to do, I need a piece of scrap paper here. I'll just use this. This is actually alcohol ink because I did have paper under it, and I feel like that's when I realized, oh, I'm wasting it. But to be fair, I could come in here and I could do something with that. In fact, I'm going to. I don't want to waste that. That's good stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this paper off. And then I'm going to get close in there. Here's what I could do. I could take this punch and I could punch it out. I could stamp something in there, punch that out, and there you go. I have another embellishment. So I'm going to set that aside because I'll probably end up doing that. I don't need much paper here for what I'm about to do. I'm just going to ink this guy here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the vintage photo. This is the oxide. Oop. And I'm just going to kind of come in and just give it a little bit more depth of color. Age it up a bit. This can be achieved by just simply this, just inking. And we'll go around the edges here in a moment too. Another thing I could do is, this is my favorite trick. I'm gonna put a couple of creases in it. I love doing that. Stenciling would work. My splatter stamp, let me grab that. So I have a splatter stamp. This lives on this block. I love it. So I'm just going to add some splattering here. Go here. Here. There. Okay. And then definitely some additional stamping. I think some numbers or something up here, maybe something down here. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to put this away for a foundation piece that I can pull out from my junk journal. So I'm not going to worry about the stamping anymore. I am going to ink all of the edges. Again, that just kind of adds to that grungy, worn, authentic look. Maybe a little extra on that corner. Might have to get another darker ink. No, that worked. Okay, oops. I'm not gentle by any means. Oh, I don't want to neglect the inside of the flap. Okay, and then just a little on the edges. Okay, I've got it all inked. It's time to glue it shut. So we are going to go ahead and do this way. Except I really want this to look, this fold, this crease to carry on. So I'm gonna try to do that like that. It kind of worked. It's not exactly in the same spot. That's okay. Oops. That works for me. All right, so this is gonna go over that one. So we'll just do a little bit of glue on the edge, close that up, and then I'm gonna close, oops, the bottom. All right. Okay, so now we have our little coin envelope. Oh, before I close that, I should have shown you. You can really achieve the same thing. Okay, because think about this. I know I already closed it up, but think it's a flap here. It was 2 flaps this way and a little flap this way. You can just, simply with a scissors, give yourself a little angle. Same thing down here, just a smidge of an angle. You can make this without a die, for sure. And I highly recommend you try it. Okay, so what goes in there? Let me grab some things to show you what this looks like when it has something inside. All right, so I have a few things here that I can just pop in and show you like how cool it is to just have this little envelope. You don't have to overthink it or make anything else. Just throw some stuff in there. Does that not look awesome? Aged and really interesting. Add a little stamping here and here and you're good to go. You could sit and make these for days and have a whole stash of envelopes. Use different colors, different paper. You could use, it doesn't have to be plain paper or a color. You can have one that's a background, all kinds of fun things you can do with it. Another thing you can do is make a specimen card to go in there. So that's what I want to do. I have these ones here. I think they'll fit. This is from Love Junk Journals. This is Tracy Fox. This kit is the Botanical Specimen Ephemera Exhibit. I think that's what it's called. Let's see. What do we got down over here? This one is different. This is a different kit than this one. Okay. So this one is Love Junk Journals. That's Tracy Fox. This one over here is the Junk Journal Studio. This is the Entomology and Botanicals something kit. So I have 2 different kits here. This is also from this kit here. This is, I printed it on the wrong side of a transparency, and then the ink was like, didn't want to stay. So I ran it through a laminate sheet, so that I could kind of preserve it. So those are fun. That's another way for acetate to work, is you can run things like this through your laminator, and then you don't need to have another piece of this because you already have it like this. So kind of acetate, right? I could cut, these are mirrored. So creepy. I was thinking the fish, or the seahorse, I could cut those out and do something with that. And then this is also mirrored, so I could cut some butterflies, the moths, some leaves, ferns. So those would make a great specimen card. Let's see. I am actually going to cut these apart. I have not used these yet, and this was probably one of the very first things I ever bought when I started junk journaling more than 2 years ago. Because this just speaks to me. I love the whole field notes, nature kind of vibe. It's definitely my favorite theme to junk journal. Now, if you're new here, again, welcome. I am not a journaler. I don't journal. I actually really don't enjoy it. I don't want to write about my feelings or my day or anything. I am definitely not that person. I use junk journaling as just a creative outlet for having fun, making stuff, being creative, and pretending. I like storytelling, so I'm definitely a storyteller. And that's kind of how I view junk journaling, is I'm just making things to put in a journal that kind of tells a story. And sometimes I don't tell a story. Sometimes I just make projects because it's fun and I like putting pretty paper together, or interesting paper. Okay, so we've got these 4 here. I am thinking it's too big. It is too big. And that's upside down. So here's what I have an idea to do. That'll be upside down. Oh, it'll all be upside down. Oh, I was thinking I could fold it this way and make a smaller one, but then everything's upside down. Unless I use that one. That could work. I have to think about that. This is probably a little too big for this as it sits. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut that off, and now that is a label. In fact, that looks pretty cool. Might have to do that. Okay, so now this one, oh, it's still just a little too big. So guess what? Making another label. Now I have another label. Ta-da! Okay. Just got to get creative. Now this will fit in here just fine. Okay, so I'm going to cut that out. I don't have a cutting mat nearby. Let me grab one. Okay, I just cut it out with a craft knife. Very cheap, inexpensive from the dollar store. Okay, so now I have my slide. You might be thinking, but it doesn't have a back. That is okay. I'm going to fix that because I'm going to... Oh, I forgot I have to cut out a second one. Let me do that real quick. Okay, now I have the back side. So I'm just going to cut this off again. And then what I'm going to do is sandwich them together with a piece of acetate in between. Actually, 2 pieces. And I'm going to use, this time, I'm just going to use the plain without it being alcoholic, so you can see kind of how that works. I mean, it's not like rocket science here, so I don't think it'll be too hard for you to figure out, but I do want to make sure, it's pretty much this size here, that it is big enough to glue in there. Okay, so I could do that, and then I just need 2 pieces. So I'm gonna fold it in half, and that's about how much I need, right? Actually, I'm gonna do it the other way. That bottom half got a little thin. I'll have to do some trimming, and that is totally fine. I'm just eyeballing it here to make sure I have enough. There we go. Just gonna fold it. Okay, so it doesn't have to be folded. I'm just doing that for ease. Also, my slides aren't gonna exactly match up when I did the cutting, and that is also okay with me because I am going to distress them. So if I'm throwing a term at you or a technique at you that you're unfamiliar with, I'm confident somebody on the letter D day will do distressing, but this is basically it. Think about, I actually call it paper destroying. I kind of like that word. So this thing here is meant for this. This is a tool exactly for this purpose. Oops. But you do not need this tool. I can't even tell if I did that side. Nope, I didn't. This side. I'm trying to be careful because it's delicate paper here, a little fragile. You don't need this tool. You can do this with a pair of scissors. You can also get a cool effect if you use like the edge of your desk or table and roll. You can kind of get a rolled edge on the paper by just simply kind of rubbing it along that. I'll demonstrate that here for you. So imagine that, let's get this here, just use this. Imagine this is the side of your table. You're just gonna rub it back and forth like this. I'm not doing it on this one because that doesn't have enough strength to handle it. Okay, so now we have our slide. Oh no! I'm also going to ink the inside a little bit because once it's glued together, I can't do that. It makes it much more challenging. And again, my preferred style is grungy and So bending paper and kind of making a mess works for what my project. If you are going with something more clean looking, then you probably aren't going to be worried about inking the inside, and that's totally fine too. Okay, so I got my slide. It's going to have some acetate, which I'll have to trim off a little bit probably, but it doesn't have anything inside, so we need something to go inside. So what are we going to put in there? Let's take a peek. Now the reason why I had this out and I was talking about it being mirrored is that I can fussy cut this. Again, if I'm throwing a term at you that you're not familiar with, fussy cut means what exactly it sounds like. It's a fussy situation because you're trying to get in all those little nooks and stuff. So when you hear the term fussy cut, that's what we're talking about here. This printable is designed to be mirrored so that I can cut both of these out and sandwich them together and it'll be mirrored. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, I have fussy cut them. They're not going to line up perfectly, but we can do some additional trimming. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue those together. And that way it'll be the same either way you look at the slide from either side. Okay, so we'll let that dry for a second. While that is drying, I want to come back to this idea. Oh, come on. That little test piece. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. I'm going to try to bring it close to you and then like move it in the light. Hopefully you can kind of see there's a little bit of a dull space. That's where the glue dried. So if I pull a piece of scrap paper in again, I'm just going to go ahead and lightly ink it. And now the ink's not really going to come off. It might smudge a bit more, but it's really not going to come off. And now I have instant grunge, and I have that kind of same effect. It's not as bold color by any means, but it's still giving you that dirty, kind of dingy, old look. Just by simply that trick of adding some glue and then inking it. So I'm gonna go ahead and tidy up my butterfly. And in fact, I think that's what I'll do on this one is I will use that glue trick so you can see it a little bit larger scale. So I'm just gonna go around and tidy up the edges from either side because I have learned from other projects that if you don't, you'll actually see, because I'm going to ink it, you'll see the other side. It'll create like a weird shadow. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so now I want to ink that up a bit because again, that's going to add to that aged element. Oh, that would have been another good one for A. Aged. How to achieve an aged look. That would have been a good one. Okay, so we've got our butterfly. Everything's gonna get glued together. I don't know why I'm talking in a sing-songy voice. Obviously it's not perfect, but that's what it's gonna look like. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this glued in. I'm just gonna work on this side first. And here's that trick I'm talking about. See how I'm going super close to the edge? That is going to give me, and a little bit more than I need, that is going to give me that glue that I'm looking for that I can then smoosh. So let's flip it over. Smoosh it around a little. Kind of wiggle it in there. You have a little bit of play time. So it's going to be just on the edges here, but I'm going to smoosh it in a little bit more. Move it around a little. And you know what? Just for fun, let's add a little more. Just kind of dabbing it with my finger to give it a little bit more of a mess. Just kind of dabbing it around. All right, now I've got glue everywhere. Okie dokie. That was a very Midwestern Minnesotan thing to say. Okie dokie. All right, let's get this butterfly glued. Let's make sure it's the right side up. Doesn't really matter if it's front or back because this is going to be reversible. So we're just going to put the butterfly right in the middle. Okay. Let's just fold that over. The fold did actually kind of help, so I'm not mad about that. All right, now, same thing to the other side. I'm going to add my glue, going really close to the edge. And then I'm gonna actually go down here because I want the paper to glue to itself, or, you know, the two sides to glue together. A little extra over here and here. Okay. Carefully going to lift that up. And now I'm going to, you know what, quickly before I do that, is I'm gonna glue this piece to this piece, just so it doesn't move around a little. I have a little bit of playtime here with this glue. All right. Then this side is going to get glued down to this side. And again, I'm just going to use my finger to smush it all around. I do want it to be lined up on the edges though, so let's make sure we have that. Okay, this side's more dry, so gluing it to my desk. I'm definitely making it distressed here. All right, so here, because the acetate is on either side, need to... Now, that squished into the inside, I'm not obviously inking that, but it will dry clear. If you're using an ink, or ink, I always do that. I call my glue ink all the time. If you're using a glue that dries clear, I don't have to worry about that. It's going to be fine. This one's a bit messier than normal, I will admit, probably because of the way I'm doing it, but that is okay with me. It's just because I left the acetate larger than I needed. You could trim it down and you won't have an issue. Okay. So that's a big hot mess, but it's going to be just fine. That glue right there, if that was on the outside, that would be super cool because that would give you a lot of space to ink. Okay, so we just need that to dry. I'm going to clean up a bit and then we'll come back, do a little bit of inking and finish her up. Okay, last thing I want to do is trim off the excess acetate here. Now, it's going to take a long time, if it dries at all, to dry on the inside because I've sandwiched it between two pieces of plastic. So I'm not going to worry so much about that, but I am going to go ahead and ink all the way around it. It feels kind of wet, honestly, but that's okay. Just going to ink on both sides. So, oh, I got a little, I'm going to clean that up a little. It's a little off. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna just take my ink and kind of go around the edges of the acetate. I'm just gonna go over the whole thing because any part that doesn't have that glue, it will smudge and kind of come off. Not all, which is kind of fun. And then I'm gonna do that side, a little bit more. Oh, so cool. It's kind of maybe a little hard because there's so much glue that's still wet in there, but I think you're getting the point here. So I'm just gonna raise it up a little so you can see it. Cool, huh? And you can see from either side. So that is our little specimen slide. Again, I just used a digital that I printed, a little bit of ink, acetate packaging. You don't have to have alcohol ink at all to do a cool effect, but if you have it, it's fun to play with. So if you are just starting out and you are maybe don't have any supplies yet and you're thinking, I don't even know where to start, I'll give you a couple of recommendations really fast because I was you not that long ago. Here are my favorites that I think are must to get started. You need some ink. I think my favorite two, for sure, are the Distress Oxide Vintage Photo Tea Dye. One of these daubery things with the little pads. I also, one of my first things I invested in was also some distressed ink. So there's a difference between oxide and ink. This is going to be more opaque and kind of chalky almost, and this is going to be a more translucent and transparent ink. So those are my favorites for inking and distressing, and also the Vintage Photo in ink. So those I would recommend. Again, you can get those directly from Ranger Ink. I'll link below a link. I'll put a link below to Ranger so you can quickly find it. some good craft glue. This is my favorite. And really that's it. Anything else to get going, you don't really need a lot more. Digitals are gonna be your best friend. You can get so many cool things on Etsy. I'm gonna link my store below. I just started my Etsy shop not that long ago. I have a few kits. I do have one that's kind of, it's called Naturalist Notes Volume 1, so you do get some stuff there. I have my Etsy favorites linked below as well, where I share all of the favorite shops I like, all of the favorite kits I like, some I've purchased, some I haven't yet. So that'll get you going. Digitals are super inexpensive, very reasonable, and then you just need a good printer. So there you go. Let's go ahead and pop that in. So we've got acetate upon acetate. Isn't that adorable? And then, like I said, we could just add that right there, maybe a little stamping, but truthfully, that is good enough for me right there. I think that's absolutely adorable. In fact, let's not even mess around. Let's, oh, hold on. Hold on, I don't want to not ink the label. Gotta do some inking. Actually, let's do some distressing too. Let me show you what I was saying earlier. You don't need this tool. You can do the same thing with your scissors. Be careful, but you can do the same thing. You can distress your paper, get to your destroying without needing a special tool. I just happen to have that because I used to sell that brand years and years ago, so I have that tool. Otherwise, I'd be using my scissors too. And then another little crease, and let's glue that down. Call this project done. I feel like I'm speed crafting. Ta-da! I think this is actually talking about flowers, but I don't care because it does say Botanical Society. So let's just pretend that this is the Botanical Society talking about the butterflies that need the flowers to survive. So there we go. All right. So friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will continue to come along for, again, our ABC April. So you are enjoying day 1, and tomorrow's day 2 will be on the letter B. I'm not sure if I'll have a video, but somebody will. So go to this hashtag. You'll be able to find all the cool stuff. All right, friends, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.